a lot of people in the community support it, some people don't. But some people who don't really support it, say things like, well, we are trying to buck the system, we're trying to get out of the traditional system. Why would you want to put us back in this box? And I get that, I really do. But, people say we don't need to go through this system. We need to create a new one, a better one. And I'm like, yeah, do it, great. But at the moment, we don't have that. And
hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be interviewing a really fantastic person. Her name is Sarah Ware. I've known her for about 4 years, and she's always come to every single Biohack the Planet conference that we've ever had, practically. So Sarah is a PhD. She is the founder of Bioblaze, which is a DIY biohacking space out in Chicago. So Sarah has actually spoken at Biohack the Planet last year at our Las Vegas event, which was really great. It was mainly concerning about ethics and where we are in the scope of the biohacking world and how we should move forward into conducting science more safely. So Sarah would like to speak about some of the past year, especially surrounding COVID-19 and the past 2020 year. So yeah, tell me more. Tell me some scientific breakthroughs that you've undergone or the metamorphosis of Sarah.
This is always happening, right? Well, thanks, Esther. It's nice to see you, even though it's virtual. So of course, for everyone, 2020 is a trash fire. And for me, my family wasn't spared. My mother died and my sister died in 2020, and it was a tough year. But that being said, I've reflected back on the science of 2020, and that gives me a lot of hope and a lot of joy. So a lot of science, I guess, I don't know, I feel like it was the most productive year for me scientifically, probably since my PhD studies. And so it's a really strange kind of back and forth for 2020 for me personally versus scientifically and kind of professionally. But yeah, so in 2020, I became an author of an ethics paper in the Hastings Center report with Alex and Perlman and Todd Kogan and several others, wonderful co-authors. That was, amazing to me. I'd never been an author on an ethics paper before. And then similarly, a lot of the same group of people, I was awarded with them an NSF grant to do ethics research for what's happening within Jogl, which is just one giant lab, this online amazing platform for independent researchers. The ethics of DIY bio within Jogl in the scope of the current pandemic and how independent researchers, biohackers are trying to help with this situation. A group that I'm involved with also through Jogl with Ellen Jorgensen, who needs no introduction, but I'll introduce her anyway. She is very legendary in the biohacking community. So if you don't know who she is, you should. She was involved in co-founding the first biohacking space in the US and maybe the world, Gen Space. And also another partner in this project that I'm talking about is Chris Monaco, who has been involved also heavily in the biohacking community and now works for the CDC in Atlanta. So we developed, along with the bigger Jogl group, a test we call the 1 hour COVID test that is for SARS-CoV-2 detection, and our team with this test actually went on to win a spot in the semifinals of the Ansari X Prize for rapid COVID testing. So a lot of really exciting things happening scientifically in 2020 and more to come in 2021.
That's fantastic. Yeah, we're very excited, especially from the things that are happening from One Giant Lab, Jogel, especially in France. They're taking lots of initiatives to help with the pandemic. So a lot of citizen scientists are coming out of the woodwork and chipping into projects that, have never seen the day of light or ever needed to. And it's really great what they're doing. For example, they're doing the Open Pump Project, which is an open syringe project, and they're partnering with lots of hospitals in Paris to do such work. So that's super exciting. I get to chat with you about this. So as Bioblaze, so what's the current status of Bioblaze? And it sounds like you're doing a bit of work on the bench side with Jogel. So what's kind of the status of Bioblaze right now?
Yeah, so Bioblaze is still open. Very limited people are coming. But yeah, so there, along with this project I was just talking about, there is another initiative within Bioblaze led by Mike Valapour, who's actually a former student of mine and leads projects now. Amazing. So he's leading this project to also develop tests for SARS-CoV-2, but in an even more DIY style than the one I was just mentioning. And so we're kind of taking it on two fronts at Bioblaze, trying to get something out there that actually uses like 3 commercial products, but it's for now. And then also working towards something that's more DIY, and there's a bigger group also working on DIY enzymes to use, but that's kind of for later. And so we're working on both of these fronts. We really just shifted our focus towards the pandemic, and people kind of say sometimes, well, that's amazing, you're working on tests for SARS-CoV-2 and COVID, and okay, but everyone's trying to do their part, and my skill set happens to be molecular biology, right? And so this is the natural thing for me to try and do to help out, and other people are doing super amazing things with their skill sets as well.
Yeah, expanding on your skill set. I mean, yes, you're traditionally a molecular biologist, but you've taken a very hard stance on ethics and surrounding how to conduct citizen science with a board of ethics behind them. So can you tell us a little bit more about some of the initiatives that you've undergone there?
Yeah, sure. Doing a lot with ethics and the biohacking community right now, and for the last couple of years, in fact. So a lot of things are gaining momentum on that front, and a lot of really exciting things are in store, I feel like. So we have kind of intercontinental approach for this ethics idea for creating an IRB, or an institutional review board, for the biohacking community. So I've spoken about this along with Alex Perlman at Biohack the Planet, and also at the Global Community Bio Summit, at DEF CON, wherever people let me talk about it, basically. And the idea is that, right now there's not really a way to get institutional review board approval for independent projects unless you go to one of these IRBs that's independent, that it costs a lot of money to go through. And the importance of needing to have this opportunity for those who want it is that, this is needed, it's required. So if you want to go to like clinical testing with human subjects, for example, you first thing you have to provide is that there's been approval by an IRB to do that.
Cool. So, we're talking to an audience of individual biohackers, right? And so we're a little bit more scattered in terms of like projects go. So how would an IRB fit into what we're doing? Like, who are the people that needs to seek out an IRB?
Well, I mean, as I mentioned, any project that is going to be involving human subjects really should go through an IRB for approval. And what an IRB is made up of people usually from the organization that are, and different types of people have to be involved in order to have it actually be an IRB that's respected. But members of that organization are involved as well. And so you can kind of make it your own with the ethics framework of your own organization. And so, some of the projects that we as the biohacking community might think are ethically, that we should be able to push these through and make a project, it's going to be a little bit different feel than, let's say, an academic institution. And so anyway, I just want to kind of point out that we can make it our own a bit, but people would need this in order to basically get their great ideas and health related projects to the masses. And, people have kind of said to me sometimes, a lot of people in the community support it, some people don't. But, some people who don't really support it, say things like, well, we are trying to buck the system, we're trying to get out of the traditional system. Why would you want to put us back in this box? And I get that, I really do. But, people say we don't need to go through this system. We need to create a new one and a better one. And I'm like, yeah, do it. Great. But at the moment, we don't have that. And so it's for the now versus the later. Okay, let's do both. Let's try to figure out a way to work within the system that we're given with the regulators we have, while we're also trying to build a better system in the future. And so at the moment, kind of what it comes down to is, if you're stuck with slipping something under the table to a friend or a family member with the best of intentions, but maybe not legally, trying to help them health-wise, but that's kind of where you're limited to. And some people are fine with that. But what about people who are like, I have this really great idea, I'm super frustrated because I know it's a great idea and I have nowhere to go with it. And I know people also that are in this situation in the community. You're not recognized because you don't have a PhD. You're not recognized because you don't have an MD. You're not recognized because you don't have a research institute to be affiliated with. And so for people in this situation who are frustrated and are like, I have great ideas, and you're just kind of screaming to the wall about it, this is who this is for.
It sounds like my Thursday night.
So there is the initiative on the US side, I guess it's not really strictly, is something that we're calling CLEAR, or Community-Led Ethics Assessment and Review, as being an IRB that biohackers or independent researchers can go through. And also within Jogel, we've been talking about creating actually a new entity, which it would be a nonprofit research institute, global. Mm-hmm. And housed within that, of course, because within research institutes, you have IRBs, housed within that an institutional review board for the biohacking community, or as I like to call them, the independent researchers at large, to be able to go through. And so we're kind of on intercontinental levels with this at the moment.
So as a leader and founder of Bioblaze, do you have any plans to kind of bring the US side closer to a little bit more of the international side and kind of mimic or, become like a satellite entity of the initiatives that you're trying to take here?
That's definitely been an avenue that's been discussed, is that, right now it's just never going to fly. It's kind of cute and nice, fun to say, like, my lab is my institute is my kitchen, or my institute and my lab or in my garage or whatever, but it's not going to fly with the regulators. Right? So, the idea could be more like, just give the regulators what they're used to. They're used to a research institution. Give them that, funnel independent projects through that institution as the affiliated institution, and maybe even just have satellites, institutes. That's a global research company, right? That's what it is. And so the idea is it's not to cheat the system. It's really not. It's just to give regulators something more that they're used to, they're comfortable with. Here is our nonprofit institute, and here is our IRB approval, and make it seamless and natural almost.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So my last question is, what is biohacking? What does it mean to you? And how does it affect your everyday life?
Yeah, I don't know how many people have actually looked up the term on the internet. It's really disgusting. It's a nasty definition that'll come up about being nefarious, and I don't know.
Wait,
criminal.
Let me see what the definition is. Let's see. I know dictionary.com stated it really terribly. Dictionary. God. Oh, it might have changed, actually.
I hope so, because it was doing things for criminal purposes or something.
Yeah, it was like something about like criminalizing the yes, it actually has changed over the year.
Hey, amazing.
So
amazing. Okay.
But what does it mean to you?
Yeah. So it's a little bit different meaning to probably everybody you're going to ask, but to me, it's really broad. It's doing sound science in unconventional places, or in conventional places, but in non-traditional fashion, or with non-traditional people. So people who don't have PhDs or even MSCs in science, maybe. So independent researchers, basically.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much, Sarah, for being on this call with me. We really appreciate, your input about the bioethics and really learning about IRBs and how to move forward with them. So if anybody has any questions about any of Sarah's work or anything that we've discussed today, feel free to reach out to her. I'm going to be posting her socials and her links to get in touch with her. And if you're interested in giving a talk, something similar to this, feel free to email me, and the link is below. We'll provide all the links that we mentioned here readily to you. So thanks so much, Sarah, and hope you have a better 2021. I know going forward, we're going to be really knee-deep in cool projects and such. So I'm really excited to be, looking out for you and seeing what happens.
Thanks, Esther.
All right, take care. Bye.